It had been floated as a rule proposal for this owners meeting this weekend. It has been unanimously decided upon to get banned from the NFL. You cannot unweight yourself, okay, when you're running next to or behind somebody, and you cannot land on the bottom half of their legs below the knee. We are trying to get that particular tackle out of the game. And if you listen to the video that Tom Pelissero posted from the owners meeting,
unweighting yourself as a defender and landing on your opponent's legs. You've heard us say before that the injury rate, this sort of tackle compared to a typical tackle, is at least 20 times more.
Boom! So now we got injury rate. This same thing that happened with kickoff, 20 times more. They're putting the numbers in there. But there's some tackles here, AJ, like that one, that just kind of look like a standard tackle that has been happening in anything that involves getting another human on the ground since the beginning of time. That feels like a late hit right there. Yeah. And we can also understand that you don't want them rolling up on people's legs. But the way that this is going to have to be ruled by the refs on the field is definitely going to cause a massive amount of shit at some point. And some of these things seemingly are impossible to avoid. AJ, all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, a man who's had to do this a lot. Your thoughts on the hip drop tackle that we just learned the name of via Warren Sharp, I think, on the internet within the last year or whatever. No football people actually teach it that way. What are your thoughts on this? And are you as pissed off as seemingly every person that's ever tackled somebody on a football field professionally?
Yeah, I mean, how could you not be pissed when you hear this? Like, first off, what does it mean to swivel your body? Like, so there's a certain hip drop where I don't swivel, where they won't give a 15-yarder an automatic first down, but there's other one I will.
So you remember when I did that steer?
Yep. Yeah.
You know when I did that steer?
Bingo.
Where I'm running next to it, and then I take it, and I do the whole twisty woohoo. So if I would have just taken that thing and just rode it down like a bulldog in wrestling. So I think that's without the swivel. So I'm grabbing her. When I dip, you dip, we dip, and we're going down together next to each other, as opposed to grabbing and swiveling. Because, I got on weight myself, too. So I think that's what they're talking about, like a bulldog in wrestling.
Okay, so we talk about the refs all the time. Now we're putting more on the refs. We're putting more subjective calls on them. And can you challenge this? Because this could have a huge impact on our game.
AJ, these refs know what they're looking at, and when they see it, they see
Nobody
it.
knows. Nobody knows what they're looking at when it comes to this whole situation.
What are you talking about? What do you know, AJ?
I don't know anything. I just know it's tough to get guys on the ground. If you're running next to somebody, how are you supposed to tackle them now? Like I'm not saying, like you said, no one's ever taught, hey, this is a hip drop tackle. This is what you do if you're in this situation. That does not happen. But it's just football. You have to get the guy on the ground however you can. Now, I understand some of those look nasty. They really do. But it's going to happen. Like, things happen on the field.
What about the injury rate? 20 times more to get hurt on these particular plays. What do you think about that? Who are the people doing the stats? Do they know what a hip drop tackle is?
Exactly, yeah. We can't even define the thing, and you tell me we have stats about it? How do we do that?
Who's watching for the stats? They got PFF going. Well, that's one right there.
That's 2 hip drops.
That's one right there. That's 3 hip drops.
There we go. He unweighted. There's an unweighted.
This guy's situation. A hip dropping son of a bitch right here. We got him week in, week out, hip dropping all over the place. It's like, you hear Cam Jordan, Richard Sherman, J.J. Watt said, let's just put the flags on now.
Be done with it.
Let's just do it. Because if they're banning this, what's next? What is next? What's afterwards? You can't, and it's like almost becoming impossible to be a defender. Now, you can see how people with tinfoil hats on.
Sure.
Conspiracy theorists would say.
Of course.
Well, this is because they want more points. They want more, highlights. They want the ball to be flying. They want people to be able to pull away because he might go all the way is leading pretty much every highlight on every sports. So they're only doing this so that offenses can get even better and defenses have even more of a difficult time stopping them. And it's hard not to agree with those people because how the hell are you supposed to not unweight yourself when you're running next to someone or behind?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to?
I'm unweighting myself on every single tackle I ever attempt. That's the thing.
No.
I have to.
Because you're not allowed to do that.
I'm taking my weight and landing it on top of the ball carrier.
So you're reweighting. You're reweighting.
But if we're fronted up, if we're head to head, you're allowed to unweight them.
But also they took the tackle through somebody, which you wouldn't be unweighting, you'd be firing. They took that out of the game a few years ago. And if you don't unweight yourself against the quarterback,
exactly,
out of the game. This is.
What's next? Where do we go from here?
I don't want to be like old. You're ruining the game. I don't want to be like that because football is awesome.
We love the game no matter what.
And we love football. And obviously, there's been a lot of good decisions to get to this point where football is football. The NFL is the NFL. Everything else is going like this or like this. They're going like this, okay? So I think there's been a lot of smart people that have done a lot of things. Thank you all. You're doing great. Even people currently in the position that they're in. But I think they're potentially being presented by people that are real smart. Real smart. These people are coming in with these stats. And they're saying all we need to do is just adjust this a little bit, and then all of a sudden you got a much safer game so that these people that might attack you later with lawsuits and such can say that at least you tried to stop this potential thing from happening. So in the court of law, whenever you're getting sued for billions of dollars, you can say, we tried to change the rules. The players just weren't able to do that. What he did was illegal. We do not want that person to ever do that again. Seems like it's all cover your ass shit happening right now for future lawsuits. And it's like, why can't we just add something in where just everybody understands that there's a potential threat of danger whenever you're playing.
Point of emphasis. Remember, they talk about that, and maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You can't even do that, I guess, because hey, we're not going to throw a flag, but we don't want you doing that anymore. I guess you can't do that.
But I don't know why we just can't have like hey, you're signing up to play football, you might get hurt. It is a physical sport.
But think about it, though. They wanted to take the head out of football, right? They wanted to take the head out. So how they teach tackling is much different now than they did 15, 20 years ago. So yeah, we did that. But now, this isn't a technique that anyone is teaching that we have to retrain. It's something that just, it happens naturally when you're trying to get somebody down.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they're only doing this so they can cover their ass for future lawsuits.
That's all of it, though. That's everything.
Yeah, but I'm saying, why don't we cover our ass for future lawsuits if we're the NFL and just say everybody is going to sign on the day one of training camp whenever you get there, hey, you understand that you might get injured they can give us a full, you have to go through shit anyways.
Yeah.
Give a full on every single thing and say you are signing up knowing that this is possible. I think everybody in the NFL would immediately they would sign it. It's like a few years back. Well, you don't think so? You don't think everybody would sign that? You think some people
It depends what's in there, man. Those bills they pass in politics.
No, I'm saying keep it one page. Let's keep it one pager,
simple.
easy to read.
If you get hurt, it's not our fault.
You do a deal. We ever do a deal together, by the way, with anybody, any company, since I'm the human representing, they'll send over a 30-pager that they send to other lawyers, I guess. And I, being a doofus, I won't read that. So that thing needs to
trim that.
If we're going to get this done, we're going to have to, because this is a 2-year deal.
Give me the outline. Yeah.
No, not the outline. Our contract is going to be, this is going to be 2-page most. That's what it is. And there's going to be an understanding in every one of those things where it's like, hey, this is how this goes. Because a lot of that is just trying to get other lawyers jobs so that you have to hire a lawyer to read through all this type of stuff. Nonetheless, we're not doing it. But can you not just do that? Because we talked about this in the first hour. The fear whenever Dr. Will Smith tell the truth and CTE and the lawsuit and the make was that they're killing football. Football's going to be done. Kids aren't going to play football anymore. Football's going to be non-existent. People aren't going to watch. They're going to protest against football because how dangerous it is and how they're taking care of their alumni and retired players. That has not been true at all. They changed the rules. There's still people playing football. Ratings are still through the roof. Everything is up and to the right for football when it comes to participation, which they said was no longer going to happen, to viewership, which they said was no longer going to happen, to investment in teams. Everything that they thought was potentially going to happen because the CTE stuff hasn't happened. And now they're still treating it the same way. We got to look out for future lawsuits because people won't play or will get injured or get people hurt. It's there's just a potential chance you're going to get hurt. That one's nasty. We agree. There is certainly a couple of these tackles that don't look good, don't feel good, have to suck. But also, there's some tackles in here that are just standard football tackles. That one right there. That one right there. That's just standard tackle.
That's above the waist. He's unweighted himself kind of at the waist, too, not directly on their knees or ankle.
And he hits him in the front shoulder. So he's not even to the side. He's kind of front shoulder there with his initial shot. It's all these are getting called. That's getting called for a late hit, regardless. But all these are called by refs on the field. There's no way it's going to be consistent week to week. No. There's no way that we don't have some massive controversy. Massive controversy. Go ahead, Conrad.
That one right there, that Tannehill one, Matabuke. Tannehill gets hurt for sure, but if that is technically unweighting yourself, the only other option is to not unweight yourself. But if he doesn't unweight himself, then that's roughing the passer. So there's actually in that play right there with Matabuke on Tannehill, there's nothing that he can do where
he's got to push him hard.
Well,
he's got to get in there. He's got to push him real hard. Both hands, right to his chest and make him stumble and fall over.
I think.
Pull the flag.
Is that actually what
Pull the flag off of his waist?
It's what you have to do now, though, right? Like you can't. You actually can't hit a quarterback like that anymore.
But if you punch too hard, that'll be a violent strike.
Yeah, and if you punch too hard, where maybe it goes up a little and you hit him in the helmet,
that's hands in the face.
15. That's 15.
I was gonna say there's a couple situations like that, or like say you're in like trail technique and man, and like it's a crossing route, and he catches the ball, and you're right there. Like you have to let him get 5 yards ahead of you and then jump or dive at his legs and try to swipe out his legs.
I think you just got to dive in front of people now. That's the move. You got to schoolboy people. They're running, and you just got to dive in front of them. Get the head in front and then just turn
get a head across.
on your side. You know,
hopefully it trips right over your body. Yeah.
Boom. Yeah, but you got to outrun them first now. You know, you got to
That's easy to do. Yeah, these guys are super slow. We saw guys at the 40 run or at the combine running 4.1s like consistently. It feels like. Now.
Yeah.